There was a time not long ago that the Chinese looked up to the West, looked up to the United States and Canada, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, places that they felt had a better life than they did. And back then they were probably right about that. The United States was the land of the free. Anything and everything that you dreamt could come true if you worked hard enough and were smart enough to get her done, you know what I mean? Those times have changed, and it hasn't been that long ago that they actually have changed. I think it's the last 4 or 5 years. The Chinese have discovered that the grass might not be greener on the other side of the fence. They've discovered that China has sort of catapulted itself into a position in this world that might be better than the place that they used to dream of, the place that they used to think was the streets were paved with gold, and this is what's happening, and this is what I see when I hear when I talk to the Chinese people here in mainland China. I used to do immigration work back in the early 2000s till I retired in 2014, and up until that time I had no lack of customers wanting to move from China to Canada. It's not the same now. They look at Canada as a country that doesn't protect its citizens. They look at the United States as a country that doesn't protect their citizens. COVID just reared its ugly head here in China over the last little bit. I made a video about that a couple of days ago, but now it's in Nanning City, where we live. So when I'm not social distancing like I am in this park right now, everybody's wearing masks. We went out this morning and actually stocked up on food for the next couple of weeks, just in case. The just in casers, we're like that. But the government has locked down certain areas of the country. I think there's 36 million people in China right now locked down up in Hebei province. Did I say that right? Because last one I was saying Hubei, but my pronunciation is Canadianized, and that's just the way it is. But the idea that the Chinese no longer want to move to the Western countries, and it's not just because of COVID-19. That has a lot to do with it. They know that in China, they're taking care of it. The government and the people take it very seriously. So the chance of it spreading like it has in the Western world is very slim. So it's a safer place to live here in China right now as compared to the rest of the world when it comes to the COVID-19. But the discrimination that the Chinese, all Asians, but let's just talk about Chinese right now, because most redneck hillbillies don't know the difference between a Japanese, somebody from Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, or China. So they put them all in that Asian category. So, but we're talking about Chinese. The Chinese get discriminated when students go over to the United States to go to university. They get discriminated against. For one thing, they have to pay a lot more. For another thing, the visas are getting harder and harder to get. When they get there, they are discriminated against at the end of their courses, because they used to be able to get post-grad work permits that were good for a certain time period. They've cut all of that out. Why? Oh, they could be spies. You know what I mean? It's like it's getting beyond ridiculous. So instead of these students staying in the United States or Canada or wherever and doing post-grad work, getting jobs, and using their education that they gained in that country, they're bringing that education back to China, which is a good thing for China. But what it does is it brain drains the United States. And that's not good for the United States. So they're sort of cutting their own throat when they're doing these things. It just doesn't make any sense. Another thing, when you get economic immigrants moving to the United States, they come with money. They come with education. They come with skills. When they get over there, they buy properties. And when they buy those properties, they have to pay taxes, property taxes, from day one till whenever they sell it type thing. So by these immigrants not wanting to move over to the States anymore, or Canada for that matter, Those governments are losing big bucks just in property tax. What about the income tax? Most of these people are highly educated, make really good wages, and pay a lot of income tax. What about your carbon tax and your GST and your PST and your gas taxes and your, you know what I mean? They're foregoing all of these taxes that they could get off these Chinese immigrants, but they've made it so difficult for these Chinese immigrants to immigrate over to Canada and made it so unsavory for them to move there with the COVID, with the discrimination, with all of these things that are going on in the Western world right now. They just don't want to. It's not just that. China looks at places like the United States as unsafe because the crime rate is like right off the scales, guys. You've got no-go zones, you've got gangs, you've got mass shootings, you've got, you know, like police brutality, you've got the Democrats hate the Republicans and the Republicans hate the Democrats. So you've got a divided country. You've got Republicans storming the Congress in Washington. You've got, you know, all of these things, and they see it on social media. Contrary to popular belief, we get as much news as you guys do. It's just on different platforms. And no, it's not sugar-coated for the Chinese people. It is exactly what it is. So they see everything that's going on around the world, and it scares the little living bejesus out of them. The Chinese people that used to send their kids to the United States to go to university are no longer doing that. Why? Because they're scared for their children. You see, when the Chinese were immigrating to the West, they were looking for a better life. They were looking for more opportunity. They were looking for a safer place. They were looking for a better future for themselves, their children, and their grandchildren. Now, they look at the West as some place that doesn't have those things for them now. It's one of those things that it's not as safe. The opportunities aren't there like they used to be. The opportunities are actually here in mainland China. The education, sometimes it's better and sometimes it's not. The education has gotten so much better in China. You know, the future for their children, if things keep going the way that they are, they look at the West as going down in stature in the world, and it actually has gone down in stature in the world, where China is getting higher and higher, being the world's second largest economy now. The infrastructure is to die for. You can get around this country easy. You have you have no-go zones here in China. There are no gangs killing people. There are no mass shootings. You know, all of these things make a big difference in the minds of the Chinese people that used to immigrate to the West, that no longer think that that's a good idea. Being an expat in China for so long, I've sort of watched how it's developed and how the people have been over the last 18 years, or not quite 18 years. And, you know, the mentality of what they think about their country and what they think about other countries. See, when I met Wei Fong back in 2003, she couldn't wait to move to Canada. Now we're here and she sees what's going on back in Canada, and she really doesn't want to go back right now because it's not safe. But it's not just Wei Fong. It's like the mass population over here is looking at China as being a better place to live than the West is at this point. They don't want to get caught up in the politics. They don't want to get caught up in the COVID-19. They don't want to be discriminated against anymore. They want to retain their country and their culture. I think that's what it is. When they immigrated, they were searching for something better. They were searching for safety and prosperity. Now they see that safety and prosperity in their own country. Plus, they get to retain their language, their customs, their culture, and all of the things that make them truly Chinese. So when you're looking at why aren't our universities doing very well, why don't we have these high-tech Chinese people working in our companies anymore, why don't we have a tax base on our properties like we used to have, why don't, you know, all of these different things used to come from Chinese immigrants. And although it's not a super big percentage, of the economy in the West, it is a percentage of the economy in the West that you're losing because of the way the West is right now. And the Chinese are no longer going to be immigrating over there in mass numbers like they used to. Sure, there's going to be the odd one that says, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. I want to see what it's like over there. I don't like communism. I like democracy. And that's going to be, but then you get the people on the other side that want to come over to China. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be the same, and it's going to hurt the economy of the West more than it's already been hurt. Anyway, that's my rant for the day, guys, and that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to resubscribe, and never forget to put a couple bucks in the children's Patreon account. It's for a good cause. Thanks for watching. Bye now.